Janine's workshop. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, today we're going to be talking about 12 Hours in Manhattan. This is a romance. I swear. I promise you, I'm still the same person. My friend Gina has just been a very bad influence on me. So, I got this book from the publisher as an ARC. Initially, when I read it, I was like, oh god, a romance. I'm like, you know what, let me at least give it a shot. Every book deserves a fair chance. I for sure thought I was not going to love it. I thought, this is going to be the worst 12 hours of my life reading this book. No, quite the opposite. I really did enjoy this book. I pretty much read it. I think it only took me 2.5 hours to read the book because I was that engaged. I really did enjoy what Gabriel did here, mainly because I like that the story is character focused. You know, it really does focus on the characters and their character development. Specifically, Bianca is told in her point of view. The story begins, she's pretty much down on her luck. She's hit rock bottom. She had a job interview and they walked out in the middle of her presentation. So that doesn't tell you that they're not interested. I don't know what does. Her house is about to be foreclosed on, and as the story develops, you learn that her husband is a drug addict who's been in and out of rehab, and she at one point she really did love him, but there's only so much someone can go through. Did she still love him by the time this story begins? Yes, I think so. I don't think a love like that truly just dies. But it was just weighed out by the exhaustion of loving this man who can't help himself. So she's in a bar drinking her sorrows away when she meets Eric, who just happens to be a Korean drama star. He's a celebrity. And he's in America because they're trying to market his show to American audiences, an American version of it, to star him. I love that little twist. I'm not going to lie, as someone who used to be really into K-pop in college, Big Bang was my jam. I completely connected to that part of the story. So she meets him, and she decides to show him around Manhattan. And during this whole exchange, she opens up to him. She shares all of her sorrows, everything that has weighed on her, and she even has herself a really good cry at one point. And you know what he does? He just listens. He listens without judgment. He listens and he understands, and they really do form a connection there, a really strong emotional connection. She thinks she's never going to see this man a lot again. He's in town only for the night. And so they're just drawn to each other because they are just talking and sharing with one another. Something you would share with someone who you're only going to see once in a lifetime. It's just well, I can tell this guy everything because he's not going to judge me at all. And who cares if he does? It's not like I'll see him ever again. Of course, she does drop the bomb on him that she's married, and she goes back to find her husband in a very not great spot. I don't want to spoil it. 2 years later, she's single. She has a good job, and she meets him again. So it's a novel about second chances, really. But what I love about it is there's all that emotional stuff that happened early on in the story without anything really romantic. It's just two people connecting and sharing their pains in a really realistic and somewhat beautiful way. It was kind of heartbreaking at times. It really did tug at my heartstrings. And then do they end up together? Of course they do. It's a romance. But when they reconnect 2 years later, it's not just going to be hook, line, and sinker. No. What Gabriel does is she gives them a moment, but then she also gives the reader a moment to be like, look, this girl's not in love with herself, so she can't be in a relationship yet. She has to learn to forgive herself. She has to learn to love herself. And I love that Gabriel focuses on developing that for the character. Focuses on her learning to love herself first and foremost. Learning to forgive herself. Learning to really be at peace with who she is in here before she can really form a deep and meaningful relationship. I mean, that for me, that won me over. I absolutely love that part of the story because that is really realistic. I am a firm believer that you have to love yourself first before you can be in a really strong relationship. You have to learn to love yourself first. And it's not, someone who's been on that journey, it's not an easy journey to be on. But as you see with this novel, when she learns to love herself and is at peace with herself, it's just, yes, she can form that relationship. You know, she can let go of all the baggage that she carried for years and years and years and be in this really emotional, loving, God, it was beautiful. The way it ended. I loved it. I loved how it ended. I was here for it. I thought it was absolutely gripping. I don't read romance. Gina, bad influence. But you know what? I don't regret it for reading this book because it really did touch me, like right here. It really was. God, it really was such a good book. It really, really was. I have to give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. It really did touch me emotionally. It was relatable. It was realistic. Yes, even the fact that she meets a superstar, it was still grounded in realism. You know, it wasn't just like all this extravagance all at once. Like, no, she had a job that kind of put her in line with his work. And so it worked. It wasn't outrageous. It wasn't cliched. It was, like I said, realistic. And that's what I really took away from this story. You know, those heartbreaking, realistic moments. And the fact that Gabriel really did focus on developing the characters and the relationship first before making it all about jumping each other's bones. So, I have to give, once again, 4.5 out of 5 stars. If you want to go ahead and purchase the book, which I do highly recommend, I will include links in the description below on where to purchase. And on that note, I hope you all will continue to support me here by liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and sharing it with all your book-loving friends. You can also become a supporter on Buy Me a Coffee, Ko-fi, Patreon, by purchasing one of my handmade candles, or by following any of my social media platforms. Links to everything will be in the description below. And on that note, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.